Hello everyone, this is CJ Novo 992 and today we are back with another brand new video. Today's video we are back, and I mean finally back with a brand new fan reaction. And by God have I missed being able to sit here and say that, and what a comeback game to actually talk about. I'm here to talk about Lyon 0, Rangers 2. And I'll be honest, I was slightly worried this was going to be one of these games where we've seen kind of downside, especially when they first came back, where it was just no at it. It was slow, boring and quite pedestrian. But thankfully, after the first couple of minutes and the fact that we saw Alfredo Morelos diving into a 50-50 full force sliding, it told us the real football was back and we were in for a game. But as it has been so long since we got to sit and talk about a Rangers game, let's just dive right into this one then, shall we? And the way the game actually started off, Lyon was sort of like a boss in possession, created a very good chance. It was well saved and well held by John McLaughlin, who very impressed me throughout the game, and we'll speak about that as we go on. But despite that shot and George Edmonton's moment of madness where he tried a cheeky little Cruyff turn at the edge of his box. Now I know it's very early in the season, but I can safely say I didn't need to see that again, Georgie. Don't need to see it, big man. But all joking in that aside, despite those couple of moments right at the start of the game, I thought we really showed what we were all about, and it was especially when we just got the ball down and we started playing football. When we weren't rushing and huffing the ball, trying to kick it to Morelos to do everything with the ball and try and win cheap free kicks. When we actually just took a minute on the ball and passed it and worked it, I think we showed that we can match Lyon, and we started taking the game to Lyon from that moment on, and I honestly think we took the lead deservedly so. And speaking of deservedly so, I think we can all agree Hadji's celebration and the fact they tried to claim that was tremendous shithousery for him. But the real credit has to go to Ryan Kent. It's a short corner, and he was honestly brilliant within the first 30 minutes of this game, and he showed what he's all about in that first goal. Braveness on the ball, his anticipation, his work rate, getting into the box, and his quality picking that pass and trying to find Hadji, which was then eventually thrown in the back of net by Marcelo, I think it was, for the cheeky OG. But thankfully Hadji and ourselves didn't need to wait too long to actually see a genuine Hadji goal. Within 5 minutes of us taking the lead versus Lyon, the big man was at it again, and this time it gets the contact. Yes, it takes a deflection, but that goal is 100% his. A fantastic ball in from Barisic. Hadji does what he does in the centre of the park. He hits it, makes his luck in the game, gets the deflection, and we are 2-0 up and absolutely cruising at that point of the game. And I just want to say before we get to the talking point of this game, which I'm sure a lot of you want to talk about, I was very impressed by the way that we were playing with Hadji and Kent, because yes, the way it lined up that maybe Hadji was on the right and Kent was on the left, but if you watched that game, you saw their freedom. They were constantly switching and changing sides, dropping into the middle. The other one was going out wide to offer the option. It was like little triangles constantly, and I was very impressed and very excited about that prospect of just seeing them being able to just to drift and do what they do, and that's create havoc and create chances. Now I know that was on show for a very brief amount of time in the game, but if that's going to be the norm, if they're going to have that freedom to go anywhere they want on the park, that excites me going forward. I'm looking forward to seeing just what they can do. With that said, let's get to the 39th minute of this game, because at this point we were in control. We were playing better than Lyon. We were strolling it. It was just like, what is this? This is amazing. Well, we get reminded that we are Rangers fans, ladies and gentlemen, and we are watching Rangers play. It's never ever as simply going to Lyon and beating them 2-0 and playing them off the park. Nah. There's got to be a cheeky wee red card somewhere. And like I said, in the 39th minute, that red card did come in the form of one of these from Ryan fricking Kent. Now I know what you're thinking, at least it wasn't Morelos. Exactly, mate. Small victories. Now, happiness and joy to one side. Discussing the actual red card itself, do I understand why the decision was made? Absolutely. If you raise your hand, you touch the opposition player face, it's always going to be a red card. Whether it's a friendly or not, it's in the letter of the law, ladies and gentlemen. As crap as that is, maybe they should look into that, because it was literally one of these. And while they're actually looking into that, can they no go and have a wee check to see why that boy, who was not a part of the challenge, threw himself on top of Ryan Kent, was pushing his hands and kind of like touching him over the face and like smashing into his ear? Why nothing was done about that. Just thrown out there, that's just my 2 cents. Do you agree with the red card? Yeah, it is in the letter of law as crap as that is, but surely they've got to look about what the player was actually doing to Kent and why he even got involved in that in the first place. The boy never even got spoken to, which was bonkers. But after the dust settled and we go into half-time 2-0 up versus Lyon, the old brain box started to go and I started to think to myself, Ryan Kent is such an elite mentalist that he knows what our first game of the season is. It is against Aberdeen and away at Pittodrie with probably a terrible SPFL referee. What is more likely to happen? A red card to Rangers. So that man said, you know what, the game's done and dusted, we've won this, we're playing him off the park, now let's use the remaining minutes to practice with 10 men because we're going to need that versus Aberdeen. The man's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers. Think about it. But back to the actual football in action then, and in the second half we did make a couple of changes. Whether or not this was always the planned changes or it was a reflection or a reaction to the sending off by Kent, Hadji was removed from the game. Scotty Arfield came into the game. And the last change at half-time was Ryan Jack coming off the park for Glenn Kamara. And can I just say, I'm very, very happy that Ryan Jack was even able to play the rest of that half, because the challenge he got in that game was absolutely disgusting, and he's lucky, and we're all lucky, that the man didn't go ahead and break his ankle, because that is genuinely an ankle breaker. But Ryan is 100%, he's alright, so I can understand why they rested Jacko. But because of these workman-esque changes that we made with Scotty Arfield, you know what you're getting with him. 100% all heart, he'll run through a brick wall for you, but you lose the creativeness and the imagination that Hadji has, and who was having a very, very good game up to that point. So for the next 10 minutes or so, there wasn't a chance after chance, and we weren't dominating them. In fact, they started to grow in the game as we set up our shape to be a lot more defensive. And that carried us into the 57th minute, where we took 4 players off by the name of Barisic, by the name of Morelos, by the name of Davis, and a man by the name of Joe Aribo. And I was thinking, okay, now this is going to be very interesting, especially when I seen who was actually coming on. You're talking about Ross McCrory, Jordan Jones, Calvin Bassey, which was great to see him. But more importantly, the one that I was really focusing in on this game was Brandon Barker. And when I tweeted out that Barker was coming on the park, there was a lot of people questioning why this was. But my mindset as I tweeted it was, I can understand why he's done this, because you think of Barker's best performance, we've talked about it on this channel many, many times whenever we talk about Barker. It was away versus Porto, where his running and effort was there to be seen, tracking back and going forward. So I completely understood why we brought him on, and I thought that was going to be his role. Workman-esque, running, no really involved in the ball, and just being another body there to double up and help the fullback. But can I just say, ladies and gentlemen, that man came on that park with a point to prove, and by God did he run himself into the ground to show it. And it wasn't just the work rate, it was quality when he did have the ball. Like, I'm no lying or trying to big it up or anything for a reaction, but Barker in that second half was probably the best player on the park for every single minute he played. Look at what he done instantly with his first couple of touches. He sprinted down the left hand side, got to the edge of the box, and did he dilly-dally the ball? Did he hesitate? No, he done straight into the box, made the keeper commit, passes it in for a kind of open goal, which I still think we should have scored. But anyway, it is a good connection with the ball. The ball has gone in, but the defender goes ahead and makes the best save of the night to stop it from being 3-0. But even after saying that, there was people saying, right, that's him Huddy's wee move now, he'll not do anything the rest of the game. Well, I'm glad that everyone was wrong, because Barker just continued to get better for there. But before we speak more of Brandon Barker, there is another player we need to speak about, because he went ahead and made an old play in the game, and it was shortly after Calvin Bassey came on. The ball gets whipped over his head. Unfortunately, he loses the flight of the ball. The Lyon player brings it down in his chest. He's got a free shot on goal. Then out of absolutely nowhere, Connor Goldson comes in like a steam train and smashes the ball away. Fantastic goal saving challenge there. That is why he is centre back number 1. It's moments like that, and I honestly thought for the second we went down to 10 men, he really stood up, and you could see why he is the vice captain at his football club. He just got better and better for every minute that he was needed. Now, I absolutely loved that because I'm a Connor Goldson guy, but the next part I think every single person is going to love, and it was probably the moment of the match if you take away the goals and the crazy red card, and it came from Barker, who we just spoke about. We are returning more to Barker because he had the ball on the right hand side. This time you're thinking, right son, keep going, look at him, he's running, there's Jones there, pass it to him. He doesn't pass it to him, he passes to himself. He passes the ball 15 yards behind the Lyon defence and he just runs by everyone. It was honestly like watching the Flash. Just, you know, like when you just see him like this or like that. That's all we saw for Barker. Just sprints by. The former Celtic centre half had about 10 yards on him and Barker just went, hi, bye mate, all the best. Straight through, and then not only did he show his pace, which we all know he's had, he then gets his head up and places a perfect through ball in behind the last defender to put Jordan Jones through on goal, and Jones unfortunately rolls it wide by that. But the quality in the build-up to assist himself, then find the actual killer pass, was simply brilliant from Barker, who at this point had been on the park for about 13-14 minutes, but created two clear-cut opportunities. And the next part I'm going to talk about is just crap, man, because it's so cruel, and it is the cruel side of football, because just a couple of minutes after all the brilliance he was doing and all the hard work, and even when he was tracking back, because look at the corner about 2 minutes before he gets injured, Lyon have a break, right? He's inside the box, he sprints all the way back, and not only is he the furthest one back, but he tracks the ball all the way to the keeper's hand. The effort, the commitment was all there for Barker, but it is a cruel game, and a couple of minutes later he pulls up, he gives the signal, and it looks like he's picked up yet another injury, which has blighted all his career. And it's just crap to say, man, because we all know, right, we all questioned Barker getting signed, we've all questioned him pretty much every performance he's had apart from that game versus Porto, and he just looks like it's clicked for him and he's having a game there which he can take, because I think he is a confidence player and he looked short of confidence last season, but he started to look like the player we thought we might be getting in Barker. And what goes ahead and happens? An injury, and he needs to come off, and it leaves us down to 9 men. And I'll be honest, it was this point that I was then worried, because 10 men, hell, we're used to it, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we show our true form until we're doing to 10 men. But 9, unless there's a seagull on the park, always makes me very nervous. And that nervousness, by the way, kind of coincided with us bringing on young Nathan Patterson and young Mayo for our captain, and Connor Goldson, who in my personal opinion was having a fantastic game up to that point. I went, okay, well, this is throwing the youngsters into the fire, and we talked about that in this game. I thought they would have a point to prove when they come on the park, and by God, did the two young lads play up to it. I mean, at one point they were throwing themselves about, getting stuck in versus Depay, versus Dembele. They were getting stuck in to absolutely everywhere, and we were standing firm with 9 frickin' men. And you look at that back line, Patterson, Mayo, Ross McCrory, who came on, if you watched my video last week, we talked about the fact that he was listed as a defender, and I thought that's where he would play. He came on as centre back, he was brilliant, and who was beside him? Calvin Bassey. That right there is a youthful back line filled with promise. So I have to give credit to the young back line of Rangers, because that was Lyon's best players that was on the park at that time. They had more men, they were throwing men forward, but the young lads stood firm and they got stuck in and threw their bodies into absolutely everything. Well done, lads. Well done. And that was sort of it for the game. Yes, Lyon created a couple of opportunities in the last 5 or so minutes, but we know why. Lack of bodies, a couple of other younger players, a couple of players playing out a position around about this point. And again, it was the first game back, and some people had run their absolute heart out. But yeah, I was very, very impressed with this performance. Now, I picked 2-1 in my prediction in yesterday's video, but am I surprised we went ahead and won 2-0? Not really. There is real quality in this Rangers team, and when it's turned on and when we're at it, we are freaking a good side. Now, this is usually the part in the fan reactions where I pick my man of the match and I say he was absolutely outstanding, but if I'm just being brutally honest, I could name every single person who pulled on that Rangers blue and went out there the night and put them, and maybe they a case for them as being the man of the match. They all had their moment. I thought they were outstanding, from the keeper, who I was very, very impressed with. John McLaughlin, not only was his positioning spot on, but when he was forced to make a save, it was safe hands. It wasn't a palming it in dangerous directions. It was either getting it out for a goal kick, or a corner, or a throw in or whatever, or keeping it close to his body that I can pick up It quite clearly showed me, by the way, for that performance, he's not here to ride the bench. He wants his jersey. And with performances like that, it's going to be interesting to see just how good McGregor will be to counteract just that battle. But I need to cut myself off because I didn't want to sit here and take up all your night and all your day tomorrow if that is when you're watching it. Very, very proud Rangers fan, a very, very happy Rangers fan. Now it's time to hand the reins over to you. What was your thoughts and opinions on this game that was filled with content? Thank you, content gods. And while you're hopefully getting your thoughts and opinions out there, let's jump over to Twitter. And like I said, I couldn't pick a man of the match poll, so I just asked them what was their thoughts and opinions on the game. The first one comes up from Will, and he said the team looked solid. Can't say a bad thing about it, to be honest. New signings looked impressive too, along with the youngsters. That's what we love to see. Positivity, lads. Love it. Callum Kelly writes, to beat a side like Lyon 2-0 is great. Played really well. If that's a sign of things to come, I would be a happy man. Well, apart from being left with 9 men. David White writes in, brilliant result attacking wise, glimpses in the first half of some good stuff, some nice counters in the second, but I thought our defender was the most impressive aspect of tonight's game. Totally solid, impressed with McLaughlin too, safe hands and really good distribution from him all night. Ross Douglas writes in, outstanding, every player put in a shift. Obviously my man of the match was Hadji for his first half performance, but special mention goes to Edmondson. Every duel he won and was in the right positions when called upon. Yeah, he was outstanding as well. Very unlucky for the yellow, for the free kick he gave away. Like, his hands were here. What does the ref want him to do? Take his hand, flip it and shove it straight up Smackdown Boulevard? Is that where he wants his hand to go? He's literally like that. I didn't understand why, and I can understand why he was so upset with that decision being given against him versus the referee. He was brilliant, but again, so was everyone, in my opinion. Kenny McCall writes in, I dissed Davis at left wing at first, but he held his own out there for a bit. Barker definitely has shown massive improvement for the club during the off-time. Stuart writes in, class result, thought Edmondson was solid, was first to everything. And the last thing I will read out, and the last comment we'll read out, scroll all the way up here. Let's go all the way, oh, that's one I've already picked before. We'll stop here, and it comes from Brandon Gattrell. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, probably. It's kind of what I do here. I'm kind of useless. But he writes in, no one will agree with me, but Big John was outstanding to me. He was very composed when dealing with shots, and when the ball was getting played back to him, he will definitely keep McGregor on his toes. Well, I certainly agree with you, mate, so you're not alone there, and I'm sure a lot of people will be diving into the comments sharing that opinion from John on his debut with the performance like that. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. That has been a fantastic end to a really crap day for me. My brother was taken in the hospital earlier this morning, and it was just like a horrific day. Just trying to find it. Obviously we can't go in and view him. My head was all over the place. That's why I wasn't so active on Twitter and everything like that. I wasn't really getting involved in the pre-match build-up, but we found out that he's stable and he's doing better now, about 20 past 6 or something like that. So that kind of put me in the headspace, and then just seeing the reaction, being able to talk about the football on Twitter, having the laughs, and just seeing the team you love go out and put a performance like that, it picks you up, ladies and gentlemen. So I do greatly appreciate that you're with me on this journey. So I thank you so much for everything, and hopefully you have got involved. If you haven't, you know what to do by now. But as always, I've been CJNova92. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.